By 1998, the commercial operation of rail traffic by steam locomotives remained a reality in South Africa, albeit on a limited scale. Fortunately, however, the scaling down of steam operations in everyday service in recent years has been accompanied by a realization that the country's railways in general, and its steam locomotives in particular, are part of a heritage that should be recognized and developed. Thus, the remaining steam locomotives of South African Railways, Spoornet, passed into the custody of the Transnet Museum Transnet Heritage Foundation as from April 1992. Inevitably, many of these locomotives will be scrapped, with some serving as sources of spare parts, but many will remain. These will effectively reflect the preservation role of our national heritage on a scale that compares well with other national railway administrations. This video provides an action companion to the book The Shimmer of Steel by South African-based photographer Dennis Moore, and a large number of sequences may be closely identified with the photographs in the various chapters of the book, depicting the South African steam scene in the 1990s. Moments before sunset, with the sun ideally placed, its own apparent diameter clear of the horizon, the locomotive and her freight train pound past, the whole ensemble reflecting a stunning flash of color. The magic hours have returned. "15F 482, number 3098, greets the dawn during a maximum effort climb out of Robertson with a Cape Town-bound passenger train. The mist slowly parts to reveal 19D 482, number 2692, on the initial climb out of Blowater on the Lootsburg Pass. GMAM number 4072 is seen in an interplay of light and shade, smoke and steam, as she departs at the head of a mixed train from Kamfer shortly before sunset. "19D, number 3324 at first light, whilst on passenger duty at Miller, en route to Oudtshoorn. CRB, number 1882, arrives at Mission en route to Elgin, whilst in the next sequence, 25 NC, number 3410, climbs the grade between Driekloof and Olienhoutplaat on the Kimberley-Bloemfontein line. Here, partway through 4 consecutive days of intense usage, 1882 is again in action with her mixed train en route to Caledon. The sole surviving 19C, number 2439, catches the first rays of the morning sun whilst crossing the Swat River at Mission with a mixed train. (15AR) number 2093 teams up with 14CRB number 1882 to head a passenger train out of Tebus on the Stormberg-Rossmead line. The chillness of the air is evident as 19D number 2698 tugs her short passenger train out of UG on the eastern section of the Maclear branch line, whilst the next sequence shows another mixed train on the Swat River Bridge at Mission, this time in the capable control of GO number 2575. (16DA number 876 tops the summit near Waghorn with a 2,138-metre Tabanshu Black Mountain forming the backdrop. (19D number 3323 heads a mixed train consist near Motkop on the Bartley East line, whereas in the following sequence another mixed train in the vicinity of Barandus is heading for Oatshorn with class 24 number 3668. This section of the program presents a variety of activities from the final years of the last steam main line between Kimberley and De Aar. The mainstay of operations at this time remained in the hands of the 25NC 484s and the unique Class 26, number 3450, known to railwaymen and enthusiasts alike as the Red Devil. Our first shot at Houtkraal Station is in fact of a Class 15 CA, number 2828, on a special passenger working. Number 3450 makes a fine sight, juxtapositioned with the orange livery of the Durban-Cape Town Express, seen roaring through Kraankale. (25NC number 3411) until 1987, a star performer on the Bethlehem-Bloemfontein line, makes a fine sight at Popan, heading the Trans-Oranje Express with expatriate English driver Jeff Hall in charge. Another expatriate Englishman with a customized locomotive, driver Peter Odell, and Spoornet liveried 25NC number 3441 provide a memorable sight as their northbound freight storms out of Kraankale. The 1991 Steam Festival was every bit as successful as its predecessor 2 years earlier. 15A 482 number 1970 teams up with her linear descendant 15F number 2928 to heave an enormously long and heavy freight, here seen at Baartman. The following afternoon, 16E Pacifics numbers 857 and 858 power a northbound freight through Belmont Station. Class 23, number 3300, and Class 25, condenser, number 3511, lead a northbound freight near Houtkraal. On the afternoon of the 15th of December 1991, weather conditions looked none too promising as the Red Devil set out from Daar with a freight for Kimberley. A substantial summer storm front was moving northwards. Number 3450 maintained a cracking pace, however, and just managed to stay a short length ahead of the advancing adverse weather system. The train is seen at Potfontein, Popan, Orange River and Graspan. Some of the better-known 25NCs are shown in action on the line. During 1991 and 1992, These are sequenced numbers 3441, 3467 and 3501. Northbound at sunset on the 11th of December 1992, number 3496 creates the magic that was Whitbit. This was thought to be the last possible sight of a daylight steam-hauled freight train in service on the line. In June 1996, the Kimberley-based SteamNet 2000 group operated number 3467 on a return freight to the Darm for the benefit of enthusiasts and is shown here at Potfontein and Beyershoek. Meanwhile, number 3501 has been converted to oil firing and is shown in May 1997 on a Union Limited Safari Tour train, the latter sporting a new blue and grey livery. The southern half of the Cape Province is particularly blessed with mountain ranges, affording the rail traveller some spectacular views. The sequences that follow give an idea of the scenery that has been traversed by special tour trains in recent years. The Oudtshoorn-Klipplaat secondary line abounds with scenic locations. The Stompdrift Dam and the Kammanasieberge form the backdrop to 19D, number 2753, heading for Oudtshoorn. 19D 2753 in the classic Red Wall location between Sneyberg and Barandus, the scene dominated by the Swartberg. The Swartberg range is prominent in this view of 19D number 2753, leading a passenger train between Tuurwater and Barandus. The 19D class were regular power on trains over the Luitsburg Pass for a few years in the 1970s. The section between Blowater and Luitsburg Summit was regarded as the real climb in the northbound direction, and number 2692 is depicted twice on this section. Soon after leaving Blowater, the line crosses a stream on an attractive stone bridge, where 19D number 2698 is seen on a mixed train. And finally, cresting the summit. D 2698 is a fine sight with her mixed consist entering the Jagpoort Gorge. Earlier that day, the 19D made an assault upon the southbound climb of the Luitsburg Pass with a banked mixed train, ably assisted by sister locomotive 3324. 19D number 2698 advances a Graafrenet Middelburg mixed train into the folds of the foothills of the Sneuberg and Bankberg ranges. GMAM 4072 is taking it easy on the final approach to Comfer Station, situated on the northern approach to Montague Pass. GMAM 4072 storms out of Comfer with a southbound passenger train, ready to face the savage grades on the ascent of Montague Pass. GMAM 4070 scurries along between Opat and Comfer with a train of box vans. Class 24 number 3668 and 19D number 2753 tugged their passenger train out of the fifth tunnel encountered on the northbound ascent of Montague Pass. The grandeur of the Outeniquas reduces even the bulk of a mighty GMAM to insignificance. 4070 approaches Tunnel 6 with a freight. A few minutes earlier, the same train had climbed away from Tunnel 5. The lengthy line from Belleville to Bedarsdorp in the Western Cape traverses a varied landscape, particularly scenic in the section west of Caledon. GO number 2575 twists her train through the curves up to Deflay. Franschhoek is situated in an impressive crescent of mountains, and the area is renowned for its production of quality wines. "19D 3321 pulls out of the town through a local vineyard with a passenger train for Paarl. Further down the line, 19C number 2439 runs up to Lategem. Number 3321 pulls away from the terminus, Prince Alfred Hamlet, on the Wolseley series branch line. Number 3321 is depicted here with a mixed, climbing through Michelle's Pass on the outward journey to Ceres. The unmistakable outline of Table Mountain immediately identifies the location as the eastern outskirts of Cape Town, with 15F number 3098 on passenger duty. GMAM number 4072 slogs up the Sir Lowry's Pass over the Hottentots Holland range. GMAM 4072 grapples with a mixed train heading for Elgin over this bridge at Hohook Pass. GB 2166 climbs away from 6th reverse on the Berkeley East branch, recreating an authentic scene from the mid-1960s. Sixth reverse itself is on the section of line that would have been bypassed by a planned direct route from first reverse. The requisite bridge never materialized, although associated earthworks and a substantial tunnel were built. Numerous travelers on this line have journeyed through the tunnel, but always on foot. The final class of steam power associated with the branch was the ubiquitous 19D. Here, 3323 looks quite at home at the head of a short mixed train at Bamboeskloof. Later that day, the same train is seen on the climb between 6th reverse and Motkop. D 3323 pulls away from 4th reverse, with the reason for the line being built with 6 reverses in quick succession being apparent in the background. Finally, the same locomotive on the dramatic stretch between Six Reverse and Motkop. The 1990s have so far proved, rather surprisingly perhaps, to be quite active in terms of steam operations in the province of the former Transvaal. Certainly more than adequate to keep the Transvaal traveller busy. This section is a review of what was on offer to the steam enthusiast. Four immaculate 25NC 484s were maintained by Krugersdorp Depot for the weekly Friday afternoon Trans-Karoo workings. Numbers 3404 and 3476 power the northbound Trans-Karoo through Stilfontein. Immaculate as the locomotive's external condition invariably were, the cab interiors commanded even greater superlatives. The final run of the last steam-hauled express in Africa. 25 NCs 3476 and 3404 lead the Trans-Karoo through Velverdint on the 22nd of March 1997. On another occasion in June 1991, number 3476 has been unusually rostered on a freight from Springs to Bethel. The South African National Railway and Steam Museum regularly run Sunday passenger trains over part of the Randfontein Estate's gold mine system, typified by a Hunslet 260 saddle tank of 1902 vintage. The huge GL number 2351 seen heading a mixed train through Tarleton. Rovos Rail operate luxury tour trains throughout southern Africa and make use of steam traction on various segments. This may comprise of hired-in Transnet museum locomotives or else the company's own immaculately maintained Class 6 number 439 and two Class 19Ds, numbers 2701 and 2702. one of the final steam freight duties operated by Germiston Depot. 15 CA number 2054 leads the Denver pickup at Driehoek. Soon after being returned to service, S2 number 3706 gallops up the abattoir siding at Springs. Some months later, the S2 was transferred for pilot duties at the Krugersdorp depot. At Meerhof on the Pretoria-Magaliesburg line, 19D number 3334 on a local excursion has been looped to provide passage for the Union Limited. On another occasion, number 3334 is at work on the same branch, this time heading out of Hekpoort, bound for Magaliesburg. Class 25NC number 3407 departs the historic diamond mining centre of Cullinan with the Union Limited in May 1993. A 15 CB climbs through a deep cutting on Tavistock Colliery railway system. Of all the Witbank area collieries, Greenside was really special. Steam was in sole command until mid-1995. A 14-hour drags a heavily loaded coal train out from the holding sidings. The real stars of the show were two veteran 480s, of which Class 1, number 2, ex-SAR 1277, was in her 90th year of service when photographed running a heavy train out of the colliery yard on the 21st of July 1994. Her sister, Class 1A number 3, ex-SAR 1301, was in use during mid-1995. The Eastern Transvaal branch lines have seen only occasional steam operation in recent years. GF number 2401, piloting a Class 24, number 3675, digs into the south grade out of Sabi. The Magaliesberg-Pretoria branch line crosses the southeastern extremity of the Hartbeespoort Dam over a typical South African girder bridge, where 19D number 2749 heads a Pretoria-bound passenger train. A few kilometres further east along the Magaliesberg-Pretoria line lies Swartspruit, where number 2749 is again seen in action. The operation of steam-hauled trains from Johannesburg to the country junction of Magaliesberg reached unprecedented levels of activity until the end of steam in March 1997. To add variety to the regular passenger trains, chartered mixed trains and the occasional freight working have also run. "15F number 3153 attacks the sustained grade out from Magaliesberg. A regularly scheduled train behind 15F 3016 crosses the Union Limited at Tarleton, in charge of double-headed Pacifics 16D 860 and 16DA 879. An unusual working for 12AR number 1535, stepping out between Tarleton and El Dorado with a mixed for Waterval Yard Krugersdorp. "15F number 3153 was a stalwart of Magaliesberg steam operations. Here the locomotive works hard on the grade between Orient and Tarleton. The number of steam-hauled trains to Magaliesberg increased substantially in midsummer as the Christmas season approached. 3153 runs out of a typical summer rainstorm. "3016, piloted by 19D 3323, powers through El Dorado with a well-laden train. "1535 emerges from the cutting just east of Magaliesberg, soon after commencement of a run-through to Johannesburg. Class GL number 2351 races the shadows at the same cutting on the outskirts of the town with a late-running mixed. GF number 2401 makes an exit from Tarleton with a mixed in February 1994. The delightful branch line that runs eastwards from George, some 67 kilometres to the picturesque lagoon-side town of Neisner, is the subject of the next series of sequences. The scenery is ever-changing as the journey progresses, and this is certainly a trip worth taking by rail. For many years, the line was synonymous with the Class 24 284s, and although these are still the most prominent motive power, they've been supplemented during the past few years by a 19C and several 19D 482s. Other locomotive types have made occasional appearances, coinciding with a considerable upsurge in traffic, both freight and passenger, in recent years. The branch is today operated as a heritage line under the auspices of Transnet Museum, Transnet Heritage Foundation, and so should remain with steam power for many years to come. Class 24, number 3632, rumbles out along the Lagoon Bridge with an early morning mixed train. And this is followed by another sequence on the steeply graded section between Brenton and Belvedere. Class 19C number 2439 heads a mixed train near Lake Pleasant. Some of South Africa's most sought-after real estate command views such as these, which are enhanced by the daily passage of steam-hauled trains, in this case hauled by 19C number 2439. Number 3632 with a mixed train crosses the Swartvlei at Sedgefield, and in the next sequence the same train trundles across the Trow River at Fairy Knowe, just outside Wilderness. Class 24, number 3693, and 19D, number 2753, head away from Gokama Station with a heavy mixed train, and are also seen in action on another occasion over the Kaimans Bridge with a Union Limited tour train. "19C, number 2439, awaits the arrival of number 3683 at Gokama Station Loop. Class 24, number 3632, runs a mixed train along the periphery of the Cathars Neck Forest. "19D, 2683, heads up towards Victoria Bay with the morning mixed, whilst in the following sequence, Class 24, number 3693, sets off from the photo stop at Kaimans, bound for Wilderness. From the steam locomotive enthusiast's point of view, the principal centres of industrial activity in the 1990s were the lengthy rail systems operated by Rustenburg Platinum Mine and Randfontein Estates Gold Mine. We first take a look at the Rustenburg system, where hired 15Fs and 15CAs supplemented the mine's own 15CBs and a solitary 15F until early 1996. 15CAs and 15Fs prepare for the day's activities at Waterval Reduction Plant. 15F, number 2934, is thrashed along the western main line of the extensive Rustenburg Platinum Mine system. A 15F working the scenic Turfentine branch at the eastern end of the RPM system. A Class 15CA pulls away from Frank Shaft with its short shuttle load. RPM industrial superpower. 15Fs 2913, 2936 and 15CA 2836 combine to move a heavy train of waste material past central shaft. F 2909 crosses the Hex River, working a train destined for the Waterval reduction plant, followed by a 15CA pounding through the same location at a considerable pace. F 2936 is seen threading a train through the S-curves towards Klipfontein reduction plant. Another 15F is seen over the sunflowers heading away from Bruckspreet shaft. RPM's own staff applied the Indian treatment to two 15Fs. Red and grey liveried 2921 storms out of Frank shaft. Whereas in a green and grey livery, 15F 2934 heads up from Townland's section. "2910 is painted in the house colour of blue and is seen climbing from Turfentine shaft. Free Gold's Venerable Class 11, 282, works a heavy timber train at the Friedrichshain Exchange Yard, looking quite sprightly for an 88-year-old. 75-year-old British-built 16CR Pacific No. 1, ex-SAR 821, works an afternoon train from Unicell shaft to the reduction plant on St Helena gold mine. The Groot proprietary mines east of Springs also remains an all-steam operation. In 1995, black liveried No. 3, ex-SAR 1921, is at work out of the reduction plant, whilst the red liveried No. 5, ex-SAR 1737, is similarly engaged on another occasion in 1994. Lorraine Gold Mine, Allen Ridge, maintained the country's sole operable 10CR Pacific on its books. Here, No. 771 heads hoppers out from No. 3 shaft. Early in 1998, 19D 2654 is seen on a load of hoppers. By this time, Lorraine remained one of very few gold mines operating steam, the sorry state of the industry threatening even these remnants with closure. The Randfontein Estates gold mine railway system was so designed that ore from any of the 3 producing shafts could be conveyed directly to any one of the 3 reduction plants. For more than a dozen years, GMAM Garrett's operated the ore-carrying duties on the mine, until dieselisation in 1995. Some scenes at the loco shed at Cook Plant prior to the end of steam, December 1994. After having slowed down over the weighbridge at mid-load, a Garrett thrashes away to Cook Plant with her load. The following 4 sequences show trains en route at work on the steeply graded line to Doornkop plant. In addition to the regular ore trains on this section, the Mines Class 15BR is shown on a special passenger working during September 1997. The 15BR is currently Ranfontein Estate's only operable steam locomotive. Another train reflects the setting sun on the section between Cook 2 and Cook 1 shafts, whilst in the next sequence a train traverses the junction between Cook 2 and Cook 3 spurs. The steeply graded embankment up to Cook Plant was a regular photographer's favourite. The setting sun is practically obscured by locomotive smoke near the summit of the climb to Doornkop. Whilst lower down the grade in the horseshoe curve, another train is silhouetted by a gathering summer thunderstorm. A Garrett heads up to cook one shaft near the road overbridge, whilst in the following sequence the rising sun greets another load en route to Cook Plant. Dramatic lighting and thunderstorms greet the last daylight runs of steam on the 31st of December 1994, a few days before complete dieselization. Diverse is the steam locomotive activity that has graced the railways in the southernmost provinces of South Africa in recent years. CRB number 1882 here hauls the Union Limited through Marivlakte on the Oudtshoorn Klippplaat line. 19D number 2698 and her mixed train negotiate an avenue of trees between Dempsey and Koopsleegte on the Sterkstroom-Maclear branch. (2698) traverses the Wildebeest River, some 13 kilometers west of Maclear. The same train had reached the lower end of the branch by the following day and is seen here on the climb to Birds River. Class 24, number 3635, and 19D, number 2698, are in charge of an eastbound passenger train between Dordrecht and Clark Siding. The locomotive's return working down the branch the following day was at the head of a mixed train, seen on the climb from Elliot to Navarre. 19Ds, 2692 and 2698, crossed the Tsomo River Bridge near Carlo Road. A heavy load of timber on the Port Shepstone-Harding narrow gauge line behind Alfred County Railway's two rebuilt NGG 16A Garretts, numbers 141 in red livery and 155. NG15, number 146, double heads NGG 16, number 156, on an inland-bound freight between Shelley Beach and Izotcha. Amcoal's GEA number 6, XSAR 4023, at work on the Freiheit Coronation Colliery system shortly before the entire mine and associated coking plant ceased regular operations in 1993. The mine's North British tank locomotives are also seen in action at the time. The Cape Mountaineer 2 tour seen on the Bethlehem-Bloemfontein line behind 15F number 3156 in the valley leaving for Riesberg. Number 3156 crosses a tributary of the Caledon River, west of Vicksburg. "25NC number 3410 emerges from Donkerpoort Tunnel on the Bloemfontein-Noupoort main line. "19D number 3324 shuffles down the main street of Forest-Smith past the town hall and commercial buildings. locomotives 7A, number 1007 and 7B 1056, gingerly cross the Malharton Bridge on the Hartenbos George section with a mixed freight. The daily Waysider arrives at Vondeling Station on the Klipplaat Oudtshoorn line behind 24 number 3668. Class 15 AR number 2093 plus 14 CRB number 1882 steam into Allendale on a frigid morning on the Stormberg-Rossmead line. (19D number 2753 enters Tuawaterpoort from the west, followed by 19D 3324 steaming through the western part of Tuawaterpoort heading for Oudtshoorn. The raw power and impressive lines of a GMAM are evident in this view of 4072, working a mixed train through De Vlei on the Caledon line. The GO is essentially a lighter version of the GMAM, and many parts are common to both classes. GO 2575 works a short mixed train between Mission and De Vlei. A shaft of sunlight pushes through the clouds as 14 CRB 1882 leads 19C 2439 on a passenger train between Mission and De Vlei. As is evident, the section of railway between Mission and De Vlei offers numerous photographic possibilities. 19C 2439 climbs the bank with a mixed train. GO 2575 pulls out from Elgin, which is characterized by a most elegant station building. This train is destined for Bitterfontein, situated at the end of a branch line some 400 kilometers long. 15F number 3156 is at Kanonkop on an early stage of the journey. CRB number 1882 promenades alongside False Bay, just north of the historic naval base at Simonstown. The unlikely combination of two Garretts, ex-NRZ Class 16A number 615 and GEA 4023 hauled the Union Limited Outeniqua tour over the spectacular Geloop River Bridge, August 1997. Finally, several sequences are shown of numbers 876, 857, 1850, 2878 and 3454 in action during 1996 and 1997. Some of these are identifiable with scenes from the book The Shimmer of Steel.